Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to Burns Harbor, Indiana, and to the commissioning ceremony of USS Indianapolis. I'm Commander Joseph Mitson, the ship's executive officer. On behalf of the crew, I would like to extend our thanks for joining us here today. Before we begin, I would ask you to please silence your cell phones for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. We are here today to celebrate the commissioning of the fourth ship to bear the name of Indiana's capital city. The first USS Indianapolis was a cargo ship that served in the United States Navy from 1918 to 1919. SS Indianapolis was delivered to the Department of the Navy on 12 December 1918 and was commissioned into the Navy as USS Indianapolis the same day at the Philadelphia Navy Yard, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Attached to the Naval Overseas Transportation Service, Indianapolis departed Philadelphia on 28 December 1918 to carry cargo to England and the Netherlands in support of our allies in the aftermath of World War I. She returned to the United States at Norfolk, Virginia on 23 February 1919. She departed Norfolk on 31 March 1919, carried cargo to France, and returned to Norfolk on 22 June 1919. She was decommissioned on 9 July 1919 and returned to the United States Shipping Board, once again becoming SS Indianapolis. The second USS Indianapolis, CA-35, was a Portland-class heavy cruiser. Launched in 1931, the vessel served as the flagship for the commander of Scouting Force 1 for 8 years. During this time, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt used Indianapolis as his ship of state for transatlantic and South American travel on numerous occasions. When war erupted throughout the world, Indy served as flagship for Admiral Raymond Spruance in 1943 and 1944, while he commanded the Fifth Fleet in battles across the Central Pacific during World War II. During this time, Indianapolis earned 10 battle stars for meritorious participation in battle. In July 1945, Indianapolis completed a top-secret, high-speed trip to deliver components of Little Boy, the first nuclear weapon ever used in combat, to the United States Army Air Force Base on the island of Tinian, and subsequently departed for the Philippines on training duty. At 15 minutes after midnight on 30 July, the ship was torpedoed by the Imperial Japanese Navy submarine I-58 and sank within 12 minutes. Of the 1,195 crewmen aboard, approximately 300 went down with the ship. The remaining 890 faced exposure, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks while stranded in the open ocean with few lifeboats and almost no food or water. The Navy only learned of the sinking 4 days later, when survivors were spotted by the crew of a PV-1 Ventura on routine patrol. Of the nearly 900 men who abandoned ship, only 316 sailors and Marines survived. The sinking of Indianapolis resulted in the greatest single loss of life at sea from a single ship in the history of the United States Navy. We are honored to have 4 of those men with us here today. Fire Controlman 3rd Class Robert Witzig. Aviation Machinist Mate 3rd Class Jim Jarvis. Seaman 2nd Class Richard Thalen. And Sergeant Edgar Harrell. The third USS Indianapolis, SSN 697, a Los Angeles-class attack submarine, was commissioned on 5 January 1980. Homeported at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, she fought in America's Cold War until she decommissioned in 1998. Joining us today are many veterans of SSN 697, including the decommissioning Commanding Officer, Captain Bill Tody, United States Navy retired. Would crew members of the submarine Indianapolis please rise, wave your hands, and be recognized? We would also like to acknowledge the service of all veterans, as well as those currently serving the United States of America on active duty or in the reserve forces. Please raise your hands and accept our appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service to our nation. Please be seated. The ship before you is the 9th Freedom Class Littoral Combat Ship and was christened by our ship's sponsor, Mrs. Jill Donnelly, on April 14, 2018 at Fincantieri Marinette Marine in Marinette, Wisconsin. Today, she is complete, and we are proud to serve in the newest warship in the United States Navy. We are honored to carry the name Indianapolis to all corners of the globe and to add another link to our predecessor's chain of service and to continue the great legacy handed down to us by those shipmates who have gone before us. Our ceremony today is a time-honored tradition, which began with the commissioning of our first ship, a captured British schooner, the Margaretta, in 1775. Since then, thousands of ships have undergone the transformation from silent hulls to fully alive warships. Our commissioning crew, hereafter known as plank owners, are in formation among you, and they are ready. In just a few moments, the Navy Band Great Lakes and Indiana Army National Guard Saluting Battery will render honors to the Honorable Eric Holcomb. Will the guests please rise and remain standing for the arrival of our official party, honors, the presentation of the colors, our national anthem, and the invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, our platform guests, Lieutenant Junior Grade Matthew Spurlock, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy, Littoral Combat Ship Squadron 2, Command Chaplain. Father Peter Rocca, Navy ROTC Chaplain, University of Notre Dame. Commander Joshua Fields, United States Navy, Littoral Combat Ships Program Manager's Representative, Supervisor of Shipbuilding Bath, Detachment Marinette. Captain Michael Taylor, United States Navy, Program Manager, Littoral Combat Ships. Captain Sean Johnston, United States Navy, Commander, Littoral Combat Ship Squadron 2. Mr. Ray Shear, USS Indianapolis Commissioning Committee Chairman. Captain David Zacharias, United States Navy retired, former commanding officer, USS Indianapolis, SSN 697. On the days, CA-35 crewman, Fire Controlman 3rd Class Robert Witzig, Aviation Machinist Mate 3rd Class Jim Jarvis, Seaman 2nd Class Richard Thalen, and Sergeant Edgar Harrell. Mr. Dario Deste, President and Chief Executive Officer, Fincantieri Marine Group. Mr. Frank St. John, Executive Vice President, Lockheed Martin Rotary and Mission Systems. Rear Admiral Casey Moten, United States Navy, Program Executive Officer, Unmanned and Small Combatants. Admiral Christopher W. Grady, United States Navy, Commander, United States Fleet Forces Command, Commander, United States Naval Forces Northern Command, and Commander, United States Naval Forces Strategic Command. Ms. Lisa W. Hirschman, Deputy Chief Management Officer for the United States Department of Defense. The Honorable Thomas Modley, Undersecretary of the Navy. The Honorable Jim Baird, United States Representative, State of Indiana, 4th District. The Honorable Peter Visklowski, United States Representative, State of Indiana, 1st District. Ladies and gentlemen, our ship's sponsor, Mrs. Jill Donnelly, escorted today by Senior Chief Iris Velez, United States Navy, Indianapolis's Command Senior Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Eric Holcomb, Governor, State of Indiana, escorted today by our commanding officer, Commander Colin J. Kane, United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, honors for the Honorable Eric Holcomb. Platform, hand, salute. Platform, ready, 2. Advance the colors. Platform, hand, salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Of the brave.
Retire the colors. Platform, ready, 2. We'd like to thank the University of Notre Dame Navy ROTC Color Guard, Purdue University Men's Choir, Navy Band Great Lakes, and the Indiana Army National Guard for their support today. Ladies and gentlemen, Father Rocca will deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord God, maker of the heavens and the earth, the seas, and all they contain, we stand here before you today, pierside at Burns Harbor on Lake Michigan, on the occasion of the commissioning of the USS Indianapolis, a Freedom-class littoral combat ship of the United States Navy, the fourth vessel in the Navy named after Indianapolis. We are filled with joy and gratitude for those who have helped make this day possible. We wish to especially thank Jill Donnelly, the ship's sponsor, Ray Scherer, Haj Patel, and other members of the USS Indianapolis Commissioning Committee for their efforts to organize this event. Their support of the crew, as well as the national security interests of our nation, are inspiring. Lord, may they always know your blessing in their daily lives. We wish also to thank as well Regan Jones of the Office of Military and Veteran Affairs of the University of Notre Dame for his support of this project and for the presence here today of various representatives of the university, especially Paul Brown, Vice President for Public Affairs and Communications, representing Father John Jenkins, the President of Notre Dame, as well as cadre members of its Naval ROTC detachment. Lord God, as this act of commissioning signals, the USS Indianapolis is now ready for active service. We implore your blessing upon all who will sail on this ship under its commander, Colin J. Kane. Unite them in a spirit of service and friendship, and strengthen them in the hour of danger, that they may faithfully perform their sacred duty. May your strength, O God, guide them each day. May your power preserve them. May your wisdom instruct them. May your eye watch over them. May your ear hear them. And may your hand defend them. May Saint Michael the Archangel, patron of all those who serve in the military, keep them safe and secure, and return them to family and friends, free of injury or harm. God our Father, maker and lover of peace, to know you is to live, and to serve you is to reign. All our faith is in your saving help. Protect us all from those who wish us harm, and keep us safe from weapons of hate. May your justice flourish in every land, that we may be called your children and know lasting peace. And we make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father Rocca. Will the guests please be seated? Ship's company, parade, rest. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Eric Holcomb.
Good morning. Thank you, Commander Mitson. Permission to come aboard.
Granted, sir.
It is a great Indiana morning, and I'm honored to be with Jill and Joe Donnelly and Congressman Baird and Congressman Visklowski, Admiral Grady, Commander Kane. You are looking at Hoosier hospitality on full display. My dear friend Lisa Hirschman and all the special guests with us from far, far away, in fact, some other states, but you're looking at mayors and town councilmen and city councilmen and members of the General Assembly, all that wanted to be here on this special occasion. I welcome everyone, and I bring greetings from the 6.6 million Hoosiers who couldn't be here today, but are nonetheless equally proud of this ship and this ship's crew. We are truly honored that the United States Navy's newest LCS is named after our capital city. Now, I know I don't need to tell this group, you've heard it stated a couple times already this morning, but the USS Indianapolis brings with it a very special, in fact, an emotional meaning for Hoosiers. And it's not just because it's named the Indianapolis. Much, much more than that. This Indianapolis in front of you, behind us, is tied to an historic legacy. While this is the fourth USS Indianapolis, and we are equally proud of each of them, I'm speaking specifically about that Portland-class heavy cruiser USS Indianapolis that was torpedoed after the successful completion of that top-secret mission during World War II. The ordeal the surviving crew endured after the sinking is rightfully well known, and we're privileged in Indianapolis to host a reunion of the remaining survivors each year, dating back to, I'm told, 1960 was the first one that we hosted. They were, and they will always be, heroes in every sense of the word. And their legacy, the very spirit of that 1945 crew, now sails with you all. That brings with it a huge responsibility. Those still living, of which there are 12, of that original 1196, and those who have already left us are now part of your crew. And it's so much of an honor that you four could be with us on this very day. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank these four one more time with me? I just ask that you revere the 1196 as we do. Lift them up in prayer and in practice every day. For you have been selected to carry on our tradition that in great part defines what our nation is all about, just as everyone who has worn the uniform that has gone before you has done the same. You know, and it's interesting that 40 sailors on the Indianapolis were actually from Indiana, but every member of that crew was a Hoosier. And as governor of the great state of Indiana, it's my privilege to designate esteemed men and women, distinguished Hoosiers, when their character and their actions both live up to the good nature of our state. So all of you on this Indianapolis, no matter where you come from, you are all now distinguished Hoosiers. Welcome to our Indiana family. I understand you already have a portable basketball goal that you're able to wheel out on the deck, so you're well on your way to being what a Hoosier is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, let me wrap up by just saying this. All of us landlocked liberty lovers, are praying for you. We're praying for this ship and the women and men in all of our armed forces in every branch. Like a decades-long line of Americans before you, you're answering your nation's call at this very hour when our nation needs you desperately. We're so proud that our country continues to produce Americans of all stripes that volunteer to wear the uniform in all of our branches and defend our land and our values. We owe so much to you and your families because we fully realize when you serve, the entire family serves and sacrifices alongside with you. So stay safe. Look out for one another. Believe in one another as we believe in you and are grateful to be forever linked to this ship and her crew. Our bond is as strong as the steel that was made here in the state of Indiana that is on this ship. Shipmates, and I can say that because I used to fit into a uniform. I went through Great Lakes Boot Camp right up the road. I wish you all fair winds and following seas. God bless and go Navy.
Thank you, Governor Holcomb. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank St. John.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. I'd like to offer congratulations today and a special thank you to Senator and Mrs. Donnelly, Governor Holcomb, Representative Visklosky, Representative Baird, Undersecretary Motley, Admiral Grady, Ms. Hirschman, Admiral Moten, and former and future sailors of USS Indianapolis. We're gathered here today to celebrate the commissioning of Littoral Combat Ship 17, the USS Indianapolis. Today's celebration is inspired by sailors, men and women around the world who are away from families and loved ones to protect the security of our nation and our allies. Today we sit on the shores of Lake Michigan at the Port of Indiana, Burns Harbor, to mark Indiana's first U.S. Naval commissioning ceremony. The commissioning of USS Indianapolis is the fourth time a U.S. Navy vessel bears the name, and we are proud to celebrate in addition to the Indianapolis legacy with LCS 17 and the capabilities that she will bring to the fleet. Our global landscape is increasingly complex, and the U.S. Navy is seeing a resurgence in near-peer competition, requiring a lethal and more agile force and an unprecedented level of innovation. Flexibility, knowledge, speed, agility, and coordinated action are critical. This type of innovation lies at the heart of the Littoral Combat Ship, which is designed to operate in deep or littorals near the shore. Today, LCS 17 enters the fleet. Her capabilities are designed to complete a variety of missions, including surface warfare, mine countermeasure warfare, and anti-submarine warfare. We are proud to build a vessel that the brave men and women who serve on the Indianapolis will rely on to complete these missions. And in the future, she will evolve with new capabilities to face future threats with confidence. This new class of vessels, like the Indianapolis, demonstrates the steadfast commitment of the United States Navy to partner with industry, including Lockheed Martin, Fincantieri Marinette Marine, and Gibbs & Cox, to build the next generation of warships. A project of this magnitude requires the teamwork of many people, companies, and entities, and I'm honored to be a participant in today's ceremony representing the industry team that helped build this remarkable ship before us. While this ship embraces innovation and technology, it will be the skill and bravery of her crew that brings her to life. With her dedicated crew, the USS Indianapolis will become one of the fleet's most lethal and versatile warships. The sailors of our U.S. Navy will be able to rely on the USS Indianapolis whenever they need it and wherever they need it. Commander Kane, members of the crew, on behalf of the LCS industry team, it's an extraordinary honor to be in your presence today and play a role in supporting your critical missions. We wish you Godspeed, fair winds, and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. St. John. Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Casey Moten.
Good morning, Governor Holcomb, Congressman Visklosky, Congressman Baird, Secretary Motley, Admiral Grady, Mrs. Donnelly, distinguished guests, veterans, friends, thank you for joining us today for this important milestone marking the beginning of service for your Navy's newest warship. Today's LCS 17 and her illustrious forebear, the cruiser USS Indianapolis, are dramatically different warships in terms of firepower, tonnage, and crew size, but what unites these two warships, separated by different strategic eras, is the nature of their missions. Both share a common operational bond based on an enduring naval mission set, being forward deployed, closely exercising and operating with allied and partner navies, and ensuring the free flow of global maritime commerce. LCS 17's motto, Legacy of War, is an incredible tribute to her World War II sister ship and an important reminder to her crews today and to come. Today, 2 littoral combat ships, USS Montgomery and USS Gabrielle Giffords, are forward deployed overseas operating in the Western Pacific. Additional LCSs will deploy this year from Mayport, Florida for operations in the Atlantic and Caribbean. LCS are designed to ensure our preeminence in sea control. These are ships that enable distributed lethality, ships that help build partnerships, and ships that provide tremendous mission flexibility to our combatant commanders. LCS are the first class built from the keel up to be forward deployed, employing modular payloads and operating unmanned systems. LCS 17's commissioning represents the halfway point in production for the Freedom variant LCSs. We have delivered 19 total ships of the class to the fleet, with an additional 16 in various stages of construction at 2 separate shipyards, Fincantieri Marinette Marine in Wisconsin and Austal USA in Mobile, Alabama. Both shipyards are beating cost efficiency curves and are committed to delivering top-notch ships to the U.S. Navy. Warship construction is one of the most complex industrial endeavors. The ship before you today contains more than 847,000 feet of cabling, 102,000 square feet of insulation, about 16,000 feet of piping, 1,120 tons of steel, 248 power panels, and 4 powerful water jets. The ballet of timing that's required for people, technology, funding, and of course material to all come together in the right way at the right time is an incredibly complicated dance. These components and raw materials to construct USS Indianapolis came from the work of hundreds of large and small companies across America, from Massachusetts to Florida, from Virginia to California, to the systems that control the main gas turbines, designed and manufactured right here in Indiana, and of course to the Indiana steel from here in North Indiana that built the ship. The pieces all arrived separately at the shipyard to be forged into the warship you see here today through the incredible hard work and mission dedication of the men and women from our industry partners at Lockheed Martin and Fincantieri Marinette Marine, and our Navy team at the Supervisor of Shipbuilding. From the welders to the pipe fitters to the electrical technicians, our shipbuilders, along with our suppliers, represent the might of the United States industrial capability. What makes a U.S. Navy commissioning so special, though, is that on this day in the great state of Indiana, this United States warship, this industrial marvel built by workers across the nation, is brought to life by the best sailors in the world. Like the warship itself, the crew of LCS 17 comes from dozens of towns and cities scattered across the nation. Through hard training, teamwork, and dedication, they emerge as a united ship's crew to defend our nation's freedom. I want to take a quick moment to recognize one of the leaders of that team, Commodore Sean Johnson in the back row. Sean, if you could stand briefly. Sean is retiring next month after 26 years of naval service. Commodore, it's been a true honor to bring LCSs into the fleet with you. Thank you for your service. Both the ship's crew and the team that designed and built this warship will always share an unshakable bond, plank holders in an exciting story that is yet to be written. You in the audience have every right to be immensely proud of this best of America, this warship, her builders, your Indiana steel, and the sailors who will man the USS Indianapolis. Thank you all for bearing witness to this United States Navy ship commissioning. God bless the USS Indianapolis, her crew, and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Rear Admiral Moten. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Christopher Grady.
Good morning, and I am delighted to see such a large crowd here today because it really reflects the degree of support that the people of Indianapolis and the entire Hoosier State provide to this ship, its crew, and your Navy. It truly is overwhelming. So thank you for being here on this momentous occasion. Yet more evidence of the strong, special bond between the Navy and the state of Indiana. That bond is so strong that there have been at least 35 Navy ships named after the state, its cities, places, and people. And in fact, the white oak trees used for the hull of USS Constitution, Old Ironsides, the oldest commissioned warship afloat, is grown in southern Indiana on our Naval Support Facility in Martin County. I must tell you, I jumped at the chance to represent our Chief of Naval Operations, Mike Gilday, at this historic event. I spent 4 years in this great state, just down the road at Notre Dame, and I have come to love and respect the people of Indiana. And I am proud to receive the report of USS Indianapolis rejoining the fleet from none other than her new captain, Commander Colin Kane, a trusted and proven shipmate from our time together in combat in Carrier Strike Group 1. Colin, you are the right man at the right time. Now for the crew. You put this warship through its paces during sea trials, and the results were impressive with 0 significant construction deficiencies. Everyone, that is a first for this class. This ship sails fast, and it is ready to go in harm's way. John Paul Jones himself would certainly wish to be connected with the mighty Indianapolis. So to the crew, always remember that the patriotic, proud, and passionate artisans of Marinette built you a combat-ready warship. Now, a combat-ready ship is necessary, but not sufficient for our Navy to fight and win decisively in combat. To fight and win, you, the Hoosier sailors of Indianapolis, must join as one and become a battle-minded crew. You must waste no time in preparing yourself to function as a team of teams, masterfully exercising your ship to the very extent of its limits. Only through the combination of this combat-ready ship and you, its battle-minded crew, both blue and gold, can Indianapolis carry on the proud legacy of your predecessors. Look to the cruiser Indianapolis, whose battle-minded crew earned 10 battle stars during the great power competition of World War II. Look to the submarine Indianapolis, whose battle-minded crew maintained undersea superiority during the great power competition of the Cold War. For now we look to you, the battle-minded crew of Littoral combat ship Indianapolis, to fight and win in today's return to great power competition. The cruiser Indianapolis's battle-minded crew proved their mettle, fighting everywhere from the Aleutian Islands to Saipan and the Philippine Sea. The submarine Indianapolis's battle-minded crew built their legacy by pushing the Soviets beyond their limits, relentlessly pursuing their Navy across the Pacific. So I expect you to live up to this heroic legacy by taking your combat-ready ship and your battle-minded crew over the horizon in defense of our nation and our national interests. May God bless USS Indianapolis and her crew. May God bless the United States Navy, and may God bless this United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Grady. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Thomas Modley.
Good morning, Indiana. You guys look really, really cold. but I see a lot of smiles, so that makes me feel a little bit better. I won't tell you that we have heaters up here. So, Governor Holcomb, Mrs. Donnelly, Ms. Truitt, Ms. Colonna, see you in the front row there, distinguished guests and citizens of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana, thank you for the introduction, and it's my honor to be with you here today as we commission this ship into service. I would like to send my regards to my classmate, Naval Academy Superintendent Sean Buck, who's a native of Indianapolis, three-star admiral. He's now the superintendent at the Naval Academy, and he's followed this ship through its entire course from its keel laying till now, and he really wanted to be here today, but he couldn't be here. But I do want to say that he has some important duties in Annapolis today. There's a big football game. So he's taking care of those things, and hopefully we'll get a win. I'm especially excited to be here today because of my own personal connection to this ship class. As some of you may know, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, just down the road from here. So with each LCS ship that we commission here today, like the one here today, it's one ship closer to the commissioning of LCS 31, the USS Cleveland. And so as it is for you today here in Portage and in Burns Harbor, that commissioning will be an absolutely incredible day for the city of Cleveland and the entire state of Ohio. So it's really a great privilege for me to be here and be part of this event with you as we share a common sense of Midwestern civic pride. Now, in all likelihood, there's very little chance that I will be the Undersecretary of the Navy when the USS Cleveland gets commissioned in about 3 years. So if you don't mind, I'm going to encroach a little bit on some of your Indiana pride today from this dais, and hopefully give you a few things to think about so that the state doesn't fade into your memories too quickly after your ship sets sail from here to fulfill its mission. Now, every time we commission a ship into service, we initiate a journey that unfolds into our shared history. I thought about how best I could capture that today, given the limited amount of time I have. And so I decided to channel one of Indiana's most famous and well-regarded native sons to help me organize my thoughts. And that native son is, of course, Mr. David Letterman. So with all respect and apologies for any copyright infringements to Mr. Letterman, here's today's top 10 list. The top 10 things I hope you remember about the commissioning of the USS Indianapolis LCS 17. Number 10, the crossroads of America. As most of you know, this is the motto of the state of Indiana. It was first adopted in 1937, and it was originally the nickname of the city of Indianapolis. The crossroads of America signifies the importance of waterways, railroads, highways, and other transportation facilities in this state, which have been viewed by many over the course of history as being the finest in the nation. But it's about more than infrastructure. It's about the state and how it facilitates connection of Hoosiers to other Americans and other people all around the world. An important part of this ship's mission will be to do the same, to connect our Navy and our nation to our allies, partners, friends, and potentially more friends across the globe. And as Governor Holcomb is dedicated to bringing the world to Indiana and Indiana to the world, this ship will be part of that mission. It's what navies do around the world. Number 9, Great Lakes. This ship is of a very, very unique class of ships with great significance for this region of the country. This is the only warship that's built on the Great Lakes. She was built in Marinette, Wisconsin, as you heard, but parts of her were manufactured from all over this region, including the steel that make the hull, which is manufactured here. She steamed here through Lake Michigan and will proceed through Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Ontario on her way to the sea. As long as she is commissioned in service, she will connect this region to the sea and to the nations that rely on the sea for their way of life. Number 8, your Navy. This ship will join a naval force of 290 ships and about 335,000 sailors. That force is at sea every single day, across all corners of the globe, protecting the vital sea lanes and deterring those who wish to do us harm or who want to pursue their own interests with disregard for international standards and norms. Be proud of this Navy. This is your Navy. They protect you, but they also belong to you. Number 7, your ship. LCS 17 is your ship. You heard a little bit about some of her statistics. Her length is 387.6 feet. Her beam is 57.7 feet. Her displacement about 3,500 metric tons. Her draft 14 feet. But here's the best part. Her speed, 40 plus knots. Now, that's not quite the speed you'd see at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but I'm telling you, for a ship, that's really fast. And it's going to give this ship incredible capabilities and some incredible advantages in the waterways close to shore where some of our more traditional ships cannot go. Number 6, your crew. John Paul Jones once said that men mean more than guns in the rating of a ship. This is and always will be true, with one minor exception. The men and women who make up this crew are the ones who mean more than the guns. They are the ones who will breathe life into this ship. The commanding officer, Commander Kane, is from the great Midwestern state of Ohio. That's right. Right? That's right. I'm from Cleveland, you know, so. The crew members hail from 23 other states, including 2 U.S. territories, namely the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, California, New York, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Iowa, Georgia, Virginia, Michigan, and Florida. One crew member is a dual citizen of Spain and the United States, with an American father who served in the Navy and rode to Spain. Pray for this crew. They will carry the name of Indianapolis and Indiana all over the world in defense of our way of life. Number 5, SS Indianapolis. You heard a little bit about her already. She was the first ship to bear this name. She was a support ship, and in 1918 she was fully commissioned and became the first USS Indianapolis. And just after World War I, she delivered vital supplies to a war-torn region of Europe, but she was out of service by 1919. But during that year of service, she made her mark in helping to end and secure stability in one of the greatest conflicts the world had seen. Number 4, CA-35. CA-35, or Heavy Cruiser 35, was the second ship to be named the USS Indianapolis. She was commissioned in 1932. She served as Admiral Spruance's command flagship during most of World War II, and she fought with distinction. We heard about her tragedy. 316 men out of the crew of 1,196 were rescued. Her story of historic triumph and catastrophe is one of the great tragic ironies of the war and one of the most noteworthy ones in U.S. naval history. Number 3, SSN 697. SSN 697 is the third ship to be named the USS Indianapolis. She was commissioned in 1980 at the height of the Cold War. She sailed in commissioned service for 18 years. Her crew served with distinction, earning battle efficiencies and unit commendations, and she helped deter Soviet aggression. When she was commissioned, many survivors of CA-35 were actually present for the official ceremony, and when she was decommissioned, her sail was dedicated as a memorial right here in Indiana at the Military Museum in Vincennes. Number 2, I know you're all shivering. I got only 2 more to go, so stick with me. Number 2, legacy. The 3 previous ships named for Indianapolis leave a powerful legacy for the ship you see along the pier today. All 3 of these ships participated in seminal events that turned the tide of human history for the good. The SS Indianapolis, a commissioned cargo ship that supplied our troops and the citizens of Europe after World War I, a war that we thought would end all wars. CA-35, a heavy cruiser that delivered a weapon that actually did end a war that we all pray we will never have to experience again. And SSN 697, a fast attack submarine that kept a horrific war from ever happening. The crew of this ship will be forever tied to the crews of those 3 other ships that bore the name Indianapolis, and so will the people of Indianapolis and the entire state of Indiana. Their legacy is worth remembering and honoring for eternity, because what they did, in no small measure, made this day possible for all of us. So let's review the top 10 list. Number 10, Crossroads of America. Number 9, Great Lakes. Number 8, Your Navy. Number 7, your ship. Number 6, your crew. Number 5, SS Indianapolis. Number 4, CA-35. Number 3, SS-697. Number 2, Legacy. And finally, number 1, the number 1 thing you should remember about the commissioning of LCS-17 is freedom. LCS-17 is one of a class of littoral combat ships that is appropriately named the Freedom Class. It is what she represents and is what she will fight to defend. But more importantly, she will play a critical role in inspiring others around the world who seek freedom, because every person on this crew and this ship who comes in contact, every person around the world who comes in contact with this crew and this ship will know what freedom produces. I had the occasion this week to attend a celebration hosted by the Hungarian Embassy in Washington to commemorate the two historic events in Hungarian history: the Hungarian Revolution in 1956 and the 30th anniversary of the formal, peaceful rejection of Soviet-backed communism. At this event, I spoke about my first trip back to Hungary with my father, who was escaped in 1948. In 1970, I returned with him, and at that time, under Soviet control, the Hungarian Parliament building, one of the most ornate and beautiful buildings in all of Europe, had on top of it, affixed to its tallest spire, a 1.5-ton red communist star. It was a stark reminder of how ideology devised by man and imposed from above is incongruent with human nature's creativity and quest for freedom. I returned to Hungary a few years ago, and that star was gone, as were all the vestiges of Stalinism and communist rule. And as I was walking through the streets of Budapest with my eyes affixed on that same Parliament building, I nearly stumbled into a bronze statue that seemed to be part of a street scene, except it was a bronze statue. It was a statue of Ronald Reagan. He was not on a huge pedestal on top of some big ornate building, but rather there on the sidewalk where the people walk. It stands as a monument to the fact that people do not look to the sky for symbols to govern their lives. They look to the sky in faith and in prayer, and they look to nations like ours and people like us to inspire their innate quest for freedom. Allow me to cite one more adopted native son of Indiana, although I know a couple other states have claimed him, like Kentucky and Illinois. But as you all know, many know, Abraham Lincoln did spend some formative years here in Indiana as a young boy. And on this topic of freedom and the struggle to preserve it, perhaps no one was more eloquent than President Lincoln. He said, "Our defense is in the preservation of the spirit which prizes liberty as a heritage of all men, in all lands, everywhere. Destroy this spirit, and you have planted the seeds of despotism around your own doors." The USS Indianapolis will leave these shores soon to defend this nation as she was designed to do. But more importantly, she will connect this city, this state, and the spirit of our country, a spirit that prizes freedom, just as Hoosier Abraham Lincoln said, as the heritage of all men in all lands that touch the sea and beyond. Thank you for being here to share in this moment. God bless this ship and its crew and all of our sailors, Marines, soldiers, Coast Guardsmen who go into harm's way every single day to keep us safe and free. Go Navy, go Indianapolis, go Indiana, and of course, as always, beat Army. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Modely. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Jim Baird.
Fortunately for you, most of my speeches are short. So members of the commissioning committee, officers and crew, distinguished guests, and thank you. It is an honor to be here to join you today to commission this USS Indianapolis. This magnificent vessel bears the name of the state's capital city, Indianapolis, and represents the history and legacy of our great state. It represents the storied tradition of commitment and service to our nation
that Indiana continues to uphold. From battling German submarines in World War I to serving as the flagship of the Fifth Fleet in the Pacific during World War II, the Indianapolis has fought violently all across the globe, and it is indeed an honor for me to share this platform with 4 survivors of the last battle of the USS Indianapolis and here today. Following in the footsteps of this impressive line of ships named after Indianapolis, this vessel will be an essential piece in providing for our nation's defense and national security in the future. On behalf of the 4th Congressional District of Indiana, I congratulate the officers and the crew, the commissioning committee of the USS Indianapolis, and I look forward to Indianapolis being an asset for many years to come. I thank you.
Thank you, Representative Baird. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Peter Visklosky.
That's a hard act to follow. It is an honor to be here today, and as Congressman for Northwest Indiana, I want to begin by welcoming all of our visitors who have come to witness this historic event. The circumstances that allowed for this commissioning are unique. I thank the Navy, particularly former Secretary Ray Mabus, for having the foresight to name a ship being constructed on the Great Lakes after Indiana's capital city, and the decision of our current Secretary Richard Spencer to host the commissioning ceremony right here in Burns Harbor. As I prepared my remarks today, I could not help but think of late Senator Richard Lugar. As a young boy, Senator Lugar was present at the commissioning of the battleship USS Indiana in 1942. He went on to serve in the Navy as mayor of Indianapolis and, as we know, in the United States Senate. Last April, he delivered remarks at the christening ceremony for this vessel we are honoring today. His passing earlier this year was a great loss to all of us and to our nation. When people think of Indiana, Navy does not come to mind as their first thought. However, the state has played an outside role in naval history and continues to do so today. Besides the historical lineage of the USS Indianapolis and the ships that have been named USS Indiana, we also are home to the 3rd largest naval base on the planet Earth in Crane, Indiana. And even closer, ArcelorMittal is the primary supplier of steel plate, including armor plate for the U.S. Navy shipbuilding industry. Our hardworking steelworkers are responsible for 99% of the steel used in the USS Indianapolis, much of it produced right here in Burns Harbor. But a ship, without its crew is just that, a ship. Much like the USS Indianapolis crews that preceded them, this crew will inevitably sail into harm's way. Over 70% of our planet is covered by water. We have inherent interest across the globe. 95% of the world's internet information travels across the ocean floors and cables. Over 90% of our trade sails on the seas. We have an obligation to ensure that the U.S. Navy and our service members are able to keep our nation safe and protect our national security interests in an uncertain world. It is the crew that will bring this ship to life. It is the crew that will complete its many missions. To the crew, I have no doubt that you will honorably and faithfully continue to stand the watch that the United States Navy has stood for 244 years. I am also confident that the leadership provided by the USS Indianapolis's chief mess and the officers' wardroom will guide the ship through any peril, ensuring the safe, efficient, and effective completion of any assigned mission. But I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to also extend my personal gratitude to the spouses, children, and other family members who are here, one of whom, Lily, is 4 years old and traveled from Covington, Ohio to be here today with her father. The sacrifices of families are the true sacrifices we have to remember. It takes an extremely strong and selfless person to share a loved one in order to keep America safe. To the crew, to the family, I give you my thanks, and please know that all of you have the unwavering support of those here today and 6.6 million residents of the state of Indiana. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Visklosky. I'm honored to introduce today's principal speaker and Indiana native, Ms. Lisa W. Hirschman. Ms. Hirschman is currently Deputy Chief Management Officer and performing the duties of the Chief Management Officer of the Department of Defense. She is the Principal Management Officer for the Secretary and Deputy Secretary of Defense, responsible for delivering optimized enterprise business operations to assure the success of the National Defense Strategy. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Lisa W. Hirschman.
Well, good morning, fellow Hoosiers. It's a delight to be here with you today. And while I bring greetings from Washington, D.C., it is always great to be back home in Indiana. Mrs. Donnelly, Governor Holcomb, Chairman Visklosky, Congressman Baird, Undersecretary Moodley, Admiral Grady, thank you for the opportunity to be part of this historic day and to address my fellow Hoosiers as we commission the USS Indianapolis. To the program offices, Department of Navy civilians, sailors of the USS Indianapolis, and the USS Indianapolis Commissioning Committee, thank you for all that you have done leading up to today. The events of yesterday and today have been wonderful. And to the workers of Fincantieri Marionette, Lockheed, Raytheon, and the hundreds of suppliers and thousands of tireless workers involved in constructing the Indianapolis, thank you. The ship looks great. It will be a proud addition to the Navy and a worthy recipient of the name Indianapolis. And to the citizens of the great state of Indiana who have joined us here today, thank you so much for enduring the weather to show your support for the men and women of America's military and this fantastic new addition to the fleet. It is always a thrill to see a Navy ship commissioned, but it is truly a historic moment to do so on the shores of Lake Michigan. I have always felt a deep personal connection to the Navy through my own work, working on the Seawolf submarine program, and through my father's service in the Navy during World War II. It is a special privilege for me to help place this latest littoral combat ship into service to defend our nation and the values we hold dear, but also to honor our state's capital city and the legacy of those who have served on its namesakes. The legacy of ships bearing the name Indianapolis has a rich history, dating from World War I through the Cold War to today. The name was first bestowed upon a cargo ship in 1918 and later to a Los Angeles-class attack submarine during the Cold War era. But as we know, and what we've heard already, the most notable service of a vessel bearing the name Indianapolis was during World War II as a Portland-class heavy cruiser. The cruiser Indianapolis earned 10 battle stars for distinguished service throughout the war in the Pacific. For its time, it was a cutting-edge vessel and among the pride of the fleet, which is why it was tasked with one of the most important missions of World War II, to transport enriched uranium and other parts from San Francisco to Tinian Island to construct the atomic bomb, Little Boy. Upon its return from the mission, the Indianapolis was torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. 300 of the 1,195 crewmen aboard went down with the ship, and survivors were left afloat for 4 horrific days in shark-infested waters before rescue. Only 316 of the original crew survived. On that somber note of sacrifice, I want to extend my deepest thanks and special recognition to the 4 American heroes who join us here today, members of the greatest generation, veterans who served on the USS Indianapolis during World War II. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your service. And thank you for your service and those of your fallen shipmates, directly led to our nation's triumph through the tragedy that befell the ship and its crew. You honor us and your shipmates with your attendance. It is with that legacy of selfless service to our nation that we gather to commission the new USS Indianapolis. The crest of the USS Indianapolis does a remarkable job of weaving naval history with the state capital that bears its name, from the 10 stars representing the 10 battle stars earned by its World War II predecessors, to the motto Legacy of War, honoring its predecessors. The crest also features the Victory Statue, an inspiration to our service members who never give up the fight in defense of our national interests. As many of you know, the Victory Statue also adorns the top of the Soldiers and Sailors Monument on Monument Circle in downtown Indianapolis. It's fitting that a Hoosier monument commemorating our soldiers and sailors is not only at the center of our state, but at the center of the ship's crest, serving as an important inspiration to the crew throughout their travels around the globe. The USS Indianapolis is a state-of-the-art force multiplier for the Navy to enable the innovative operational concepts of our commanders at sea. The Indianapolis is capable of adjusting its mission capabilities to quickly meet the specific needs required for the employment of force. It carries on the fighting tradition of its predecessors with its broadly adaptable yet specialized mission to defeat coastal threats, including submarines and high-speed small vessels, with the ability to project American power and deterrence globally, and with the flexibility to support forward presence, maritime security, sea control, and deterrence missions in open ocean. The USS Indianapolis is fully automated and able to operate with a reduced crew requirement over traditional ships. It is equipped with the latest technology in rolling airframe missiles and the Mark 110 gun. With its reconfigurable hull, the vessel integrates multiple capabilities for varied missions, including the ability to utilize over-the-horizon missiles and advanced electronic warfare systems. Building upon our nation's global technology leadership and the best-trained military in the world, we are ensuring the Indianapolis is prepared to meet and defeat any challenges it faces. This cutting-edge tool in support of peace is an embodiment of the wisdom given to us by the founding father of our nation. In his State of the Union speech in 1793, George Washington said, "There is a rank due to the United States among nations which will be withheld, if not absolutely lost, by the reputation of weakness. If we desire to avoid insult, we must be able to repel it. If we desire to secure peace, one of the most powerful instruments of our rising prosperity, it must be known that we are, at all times, ready for war." The members of our armed forces, brave men and women from across this great nation, stand ready in defense of our core values of freedom and liberty wherever they may be challenged. America's military has earned a well-deserved reputation for selfless service, gallantry, and victory. These brave Americans pledge their lives in defense of their nation and the universal cause of peace and freedom. To honor and support their commitment, we have a moral obligation as a nation to equip our warfighters with the tools and training they need to prevail in any conflict they face on our behalf. And I can assure you this is the imperative that guides our work on behalf of the nation and our warfighters at the Department of Defense every single day. In today's era of emerging threats and tight budgets, our nation's national defense strategy rests on 3 pillars: enhanced lethality, increased global partnerships with our allies, and reform of the Department of Defense in support of our warfighters and the taxpayers. The Department of Defense's ongoing mission is to provide combat-ready military forces needed to deter war and protect the security of this great nation. Training and equipping our forces are fundamental to fulfilling this mission, but as we all know, achieving these goals must be balanced with our available budgets. That's why the Department of Defense is working aggressively to examine our spending and seeking fundamental reform to ensure our available funds are spent as efficiently as possible. In order to ensure our ability to invest in technology like the USS Indianapolis and meet the first pillar of our national defense strategy, increased lethality, Secretary Esper, Deputy Secretary Norquist, and I are working closely together to conduct a defense-wide review of programs and spending. We are seeking to ensure that our warfighters receive the support, tools, and the technology they need to prevail in any conflict they encounter in defense of our nation, and that America's taxpayers know that their dollars are being spent efficiently and effectively to secure our national interests by carefully reviewing the people, processes, and spending within the Department of Defense. My special thanks go to both Secretary of the Navy Richard Spencer and Undersecretary Modly for the key role they are playing in support of these efforts on behalf of the Navy. This effort allows us to invest in technology and to ensure our armed forces enter the fight fully equipped to win, leveraging cutting-edge technology to support the training and commitment of our warfighters. To Commander Kane and the crew of the USS Indianapolis, know that the decisions and investments we make are always keeping you, the warfighter, our customer, at the forefront. Again, thank you for the opportunity to participate in this momentous occasion for the Navy in Indiana. May you have fair winds and following seas as you get underway to home port at Naval Station Mayport. God bless this ship and its crew. God bless the great state of Indiana, and God bless America.
Secretary Modly, I would be honored if you would place Indianapolis in commission.
On behalf of the Secretary of the Navy and for the President of the United States, I hereby place the United States ship Indianapolis in commission. May God bless and guide this warship and all who sail in her.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Executive Officer, hoist the colors and the commission pennant.
Aye, aye, sir. Indianapolis, tin hup. The commission pennant in professional national navies began to take form late in the 17th century. All ships at that time were sailing ships, and it was often difficult to tell a naval ship from a merchantman. Navies began to adopt long, narrow pennants to be flown by their ships at the main masthead to distinguish themselves from merchant ships. The commission pennant will fly continuously until the ship is decommissioned. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. I direct your attention to the ship's mast as we hoist the commission pennant and the flag of our United States of America. Quartermaster, hoist the colors and the commission pennant.
Aye, aye, sir.
Captain, the colors and the commission pennant are flying over USS Indianapolis.
Very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I will now read my orders. From Chief of Navy Personnel to Commander Colin J. Kane, United States Navy. Subject, Bupper's Orders Number 1026. When directed by reporting senior, assume duties as Commanding Officer, Pre-Commissioning Unit, Indianapolis, for duties in conjunction with fitting out. Upon commissioning of USS Indianapolis, report for duty as Commanding Officer. Admiral Grady, USS Indianapolis is in commission, and I am in command.
Congratulations.
Executive Officer, set the watch.
Aye, aye, sir. Officer of the deck, set the first watch.
Aye, aye, sir.
The officer of the deck is the commanding officer's direct representative, and while on watch, is responsible for the safety and smooth operation of the ship and her crew. The long glass is the traditional symbol of an officer of the deck's authority in a ship of the line. We are honored to have Seaman Second Class Richard Thalen of CA-35 and Captain David Zacharias, the former commanding officer of SSN 697, here today to assist in setting our first watch. They will pass our ship's long glass to our first officer of the deck, Lieutenant Julian Turner from McDonough, Georgia. The petty officer of the watch is Information Systems Technician First Class Tyler Everett from Newport News, Virginia. The messenger of the watch is Mineman Second Class John McCoy from West Babylon, New York. And the bosun's mate of the watch is Bosun's Mate Second Class Carlos Medina from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Set the watch. On deck, Section 1. Sir, the watch has been set.
Very well. Captain, the watch is set.
Very well. We are delighted to have our sponsor, Jill Donnelly, here with us today. Mrs. Donnelly christened this ship in Marinette, Wisconsin on April 14th, 2018. Jill, I would be honored if you would join me and give the order to man our ship and bring her to life.
Sir. Congratulations, Commander Kane. It's so wonderful to have this extraordinary ship named after our capital city here in Indiana. I want to thank all of you for sharing this special day with these talented men and women and who will serve under the guidance of Commander Kane. I have been fortunate to spend time with them and am so proud as they represent all that is good about Indianapolis, our state, and our country. And now, officers and crew of USS Indianapolis, man our ship and bring her to life.
Aye, aye, ma'am!
Ladies and gentlemen, the crew of USS Indianapolis salutes you. We are proud to serve in your great Navy. Indianapolis, ready, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Captain, USS Indianapolis is manned and ready.
Very well. Commodore Johnson, USS Indianapolis is manned and ready, and I report for duty.
Very well.
Secretary Modley, request permission to break your flag. Aye, aye, sir. Executive Officer, break the flag of the Undersecretary of the Navy.
Aye, aye, sir. Quartermaster, break the flag of the Undersecretary of the Navy.
Aye, aye, sir.
Captain, the flag of the Undersecretary of the Navy is flying over USS Indianapolis.
Very well. Indianapolis, parade, rest. Mrs. Donnelly, Secretary Modley, Ms. Hirschman, Admiral Grady, distinguished guests, family and friends, and most importantly, the officers and crew of the newest ship in the greatest Navy in the world. This is one great day. After over 3 years of hard work, you are now the crew of the USS Indianapolis. Undersecretary Modley and Mrs. Donnelly, we are extremely honored with your presence here today. Mrs. Donnelly, your words, or should I say your order, to bring our ship to life were the defining moment. I only wish the crew would respond like that to my orders. On behalf of the crew, thank you very much for joining us today. The events leading up to and following this ceremony and the crew enhancements aboard our ship are possible because of the dedication of those who volunteer their time and talents to support our commissioning committee. The people of Indianapolis provided overwhelming support. Please join me in applauding our commissioning committee and all those who supported making this event happen. Thank you all, one and all. This day has really been made possible by the 96 sailors of the Blue and Gold Crews who are the lifeblood of this great warship. Without the crews, this ship is simply steel plates, aluminum plates, miles of cables and wiring, tanks, ladders, and lots of gray paint. The crew gives the ship its own personality and warfighting spirit. The men and women of USS Indianapolis exemplify patriotism, grit, and what this great country of ours stands for. We take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Ladies and gentlemen, before you stand the officers, chief petty officers, and sailors of the greatest Navy in the world. They are the best our nation has to offer. They will be held to and uphold a higher standard by virtue of the fact they are patriots. They come from all over this great country of ours. Listen to the places: Bronx, New York; Lufkin, Texas; Eau Claire, Wisconsin; Liston, Indiana; San Diego, California; Jacksonville, Florida; Blaine, Washington; and Newport News, Virginia. I am extremely proud to be associated with these outstanding Americans because they are true, committed patriots. We are also fortunate to have the opportunity to interact with some other patriots, the crew members of the 2 previous ships named Indianapolis. On Thursday, we hosted a luncheon with them in which they regaled us with their stories of serving in Indianapolis. We truly have a tremendous legacy, and we will continue to carry on this great legacy as we forge our own path into the future. Over the years, sailors embraced the term shipmate. It's a generic greeting when a person's name escapes you. Shipmate has different meanings to each and every one of us. It could signify a person who will help you out, or it could simply be someone aboard your ship. My favorite definition is that person you serve shoulder to shoulder with through good times and bad. Someone you can loan a few dollars to and know you'll be repaid. It's a person who takes ownership in their spaces and equipment, pride in their ship, the Navy, and the United States of America. Officers, Chief Petty Officers, and sailors of USS Indianapolis, I am extremely proud to have all of you as shipmates. Now, there is something I would like to do for one of our shipmates. LSSN Eli, front and center. Logistics Specialist Seaman Eli is a junior logistician who has thoroughly impressed me with her performance. She managed all of the hazardous material on board and our inventory of consumable products and spare parts. For her outstanding performance, I am now going to promote her to Petty Officer 3rd Class. Congratulations, Petty Officer 3rd Class Eli. To my wife, Annalisa, I want to specifically thank you for all the support you provided through the years in the Navy, or my years in the Navy. You have been with me through all the ups and all the downs. You have been the rock on which I could always rely. Grazie mille, Principessa. Ti amo. Mom and Dad, I would not be the man standing before you today were not for the love, care, and guidance you provided in raising me. Thank you. I would be remiss if I did not pass on my thanks to the families and friends who support our sailors. Without you, we could not do our job. Thank you all so very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all for being here today. May God bless you. God bless the United States Navy, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Ship's Company, Aten Hut. Will the guests please rise? Chaplain Spurlock will now lead us in the benediction.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, strong to save, as we close this ceremony, we ask for your continual blessing upon the command, officers, and crews of the USS Indianapolis. Lead and guide them to uphold the namesake of the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. I pray they would embrace the same vigilance and winning spirit reflected by the crossroads of America. And though this ship carries a legacy of war, we patiently wait for the coming of your kingdom, when nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, where swords are beaten into plowshares, where spears are formed into pruning hooks, when nation shall not learn war anymore. Until that day, may you guide these sailors and give wisdom to their command and uphold that same legacy of war which was displayed by our shipmates before us. Now to the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. Amen.